Hello, friends. My name is Steve, and welcome to the Friday Conversation. This week will be a little bit different. I had lots of guests planned, I had lots of things scheduled, and I had lots of no-shows this week that guests just either forgot or just decided not to show up. So here I am talking to you. The conversation will be with you this week. It'll be one-way conversation, but either way. So this week, I just want to update everyone on what I've been reading, kind of almost like a weekly update instead of a conversation. So we'll go ahead and get into it. This is a little bit weird to do a Friday conversation without anyone to have a conversation with, but I wanted to get something out there this week just because I know that there's a couple of you who listen every week and I want to do something. So anyway, if you'd like to get in touch with me, the best place is on our website, pagechewing.com. Join our forums. We have a really nice, really tightly knit group of friends there. It's a really great place, really positive place. And I'm really lucky to have so many really wonderful people around me that frequent there. They do get me into trouble with reading commitments, but other than that, they're all really great people. And I can also be found on a couple other podcasts. I have the Page Chewing Comics and Manga podcast, where my co-host Mike and I get our weekly pulls for the week from our comic book store, and we come and talk about what we pulled, and pick our pick of the week. And we also have the Film Chewing podcast, where we discuss a movie about every other week or so. I've been slowing down on that a little bit just because of there's too many things to do, but about every other week, and I'll get into that here in a few minutes. First, let's talk about what I've been reading, what I finished. So today that you're listening to this, if you're listening to this on Friday, the 3rd, I just finished Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. We are discussing this book tomorrow, which is the 4th of May, on the podcast. Yeah. So we read The Road a couple of months ago, discussed that on the podcast. And I was really excited to read Blood Meridian because I hear that it's this really... Everyone tells me, because I'm a big Second Apocalypse fan, that I will love Blood Meridian. And I did really like The Road. I think The Road is really good. It took me a little bit to get used to the writing style. The prose is a little bit weird, without quotation marks. Sentence structures are kind of strange. So all that stuff I can get into. With Blood Meridian, I don't get the... I can appreciate it for its descriptions and its prose and the writing style. I can appreciate it for what it does. I was just bored out of my mind. Just majority of the book, it became very repetitive. The environments, the people, visually, he has a way of describing environments and people and scenes that it felt, you feel like you're there. You feel like you're a fly on the wall watching all these events. And it is very violent. It can be a little bit disturbing. And I think I know what he's trying to do with this is like a deconstruction, or like trying to about the Old West, about America, about humans, about, kind of exploring humanity, exploring the awful things people can do, violence, the violence we do to each other, the depravity that some people have or have had in the Old West, and the dehumanization of a lot of people during that time. I don't want to get too far into it because I don't want to spoil it for anyone. But basically, it's about a gang. It's about a kid who joins a gang in the Old West in the 1850s, I believe, and they just go place to place, and they just do lots of awful things over and over and over again. And there came a point where I felt like I needed more characterization. I needed something to really sink my teeth into. It really does feel like you're a fly on the wall. You don't really get in the characters' heads a whole lot. You don't really get an insight to what they're thinking or their thought processes are. You're just watching these events unfold. And while a lot of it can be disturbing, like I said, it wasn't too much for me. I read a lot of disturbing stuff. So it wasn't to the point where I couldn't handle it or anything. I thought it was Okay, and I know some of it's based on events. I'm not sure how much of it is based on what's actually happened, or witness accounts or whatever. I'm sure some of it has. I mean, I'm sure all the horrible things we can think of, unfortunately, have happened. But what I don't get, I think my takeaway from it was, I know that this is celebrated, and I can see why. I can see why people like it. I thought it was okay. I didn't hate it. I just don't get it. It's strange to me because, as most of you know, I'm a big fan of grimdark, of dark fantasy, and a lot of dark fantasy is dismissed as, oh, that's, it's just trying to be edgy for the teenagers. It's trying to be, oh, you're trying to be an edgelord because you're reading this book. But a lot of the same violence, or even worse violence, happened in this book. And I get its presentation. I get it's how you tell the story. And I get all that. I get the framing. I get the context. But a lot of there are some dark fantasy books out there that just are trying to shock you, or just they're trying to go for shock value. And of course, there's plenty of those out there. I've read some of them, and they aren't good. But there are books out there who really try to explore those different parts of humanity. A lot of the same parts that I think Blood Meridian was trying to explore, and they're dismissed as being, oh, you're just being edgy. So it's interesting the way that different books and different authors are kind of celebrated, when you can find similar themes and similar ideas in other books in different genres. And I think part of it is because some of the books I'm referencing are fantasy books. And I think fantasy can kind of get a bad rap from certain groups of readers. And I know certain readers are hardcore McCarthy, Cormac McCarthy fans, and there's reason for that. I just didn't get, I just wasn't blown away by it. And I was I was more than a little bit disappointed. I think I had my expectations going into it were a little bit too high, but wow, did it turn, it was a chore to finish. It was kind of rough. I have to be honest. And I really wanted to love it. I really did. But about halfway through, I just started to I ended up listening to the audiobook about halfway through too. And I found myself just kind of, my mind was wandering. I couldn't engage with it. It was really, really tough to engage with it. So yeah, we'll get into more spoilers tomorrow, and the podcast will be posted on the podcast shortly within the next couple of days. But if you wanted to join us on that discussion, go check out the forums and you can join us for that discussion. I believe we have a few people joining that one. The other book I'm reading is for another podcast I'm in, which is Speculative Speculations. It's with a group of friends. We read a book, parts of a book, and then we'll read a short story from the big book of science fiction. We do this every week, and that's posted. I'll leave a link below for that podcast. It's a really great podcast full of really wonderful people that I do that with every single week. We just finished Annihilation, the Southern Reach trilogy, and I have my thoughts on that too. And you can listen to my thoughts coming up on that podcast. In general, when I finished that trilogy, I was disappointed because a lot of it is, and I'll avoid spoilers, but there's a lot of things that are left vague, and vague is okay sometimes. I don't mind stories that are left vague, but I felt like there was a little bit too much. But the more I thought about it, and the more that we talked about it, I've really come to appreciate it. And I think I've kind of come to the point where there are certain shows, and we keep coming back to Lost, the TV show Lost, because it's kind of so many mysteries and it's hard to wrap them all up. And I think part of the fun of things like Lost, or things like the Southern Reach, or those kind of stories, are that all the theorizing you do, and all the ideas you have of what things could be, what things could mean, or why this event happened, or what this event means in the big scheme of things. I think part of the fun is that. And I think leaving it open still leaves the reader or the watcher a chance to kind of theorize and wonder, and do we really want everything answered? That's kind of what I asked myself at the end, is do I really want all these things answered? Do I really want answers to everything? Or is it okay to not know? Is it okay to theorize and to wonder and to try and put things together? do I need everything fed to me, basically? And it kind of made me look and think about that a little bit. So yeah, but Annihilation, the first book, is just really, really good. You can read it as a standalone, but I guarantee if you love Annihilation, you'll want to keep reading because it's a really great book. And the trilogy was good, but it was solid. I'd say it's solid. But Annihilation, if you're looking for a short, really great science fiction book, definitely check out Annihilation. And it is nothing like the movie. Well, it's a little close to the movie, but it's hard to adapt a series like The Southern Reach in one movie. It's almost impossible. But I feel like the movie did some good things if you've seen it. But if you've seen the movie and you're worried about it being spoiled, or you're worried about knowing everything, you trust me, you'll go in and there's plenty of things that they did not put in the movie for good reason. There's just too much. So if you are looking for a short, really, really great science fiction read, definitely check out Annihilation. So speaking of the podcast, Speculative Speculations, we are also reading Embassy Town right now. And this is by Mayville. And this one I'm having a little bit of trouble getting into. I'm having trouble engaging with it. Dan, one of our co-hosts, warned me that it's a lot like Malazan. When you get into it, they drop you in, not a whole lot of context. You have to put things together. And I'm glad I had that warning because I was completely lost. So at least I knew that I was going to be lost. It's easier knowing it's not just me being a moron. It's actually, this is the way it's structured. So Embassy Town, I'm having a little bit of trouble getting into it. It is a science fiction book that is you really have to take your time with. And that's kind of what I'm trying to get into now. And I'm trying to take my time with it, but it's been tough for me to engage with. I haven't been able to really sink my teeth into it the way I wanted to. I think part of that is because it does drop you in like that. And it does kind of it makes you put things together, which is fine. But I think it's taken me a little bit to really get my footing on it. The other book I'm reading currently is The White Luck Warrior. We are going through the second apocalypse again, and I'm picking up a lot of things in my second read. We discuss this series every Tuesday night, so if you're interested in joining those discussions, again, check the forum. We have a club there that anyone's welcome to join. We've had a few listeners come and join us just because they wanted to join the fun. It's been really, really great insights, and I love talking this series. I just love exploring this series. And there's a lot of things that I'm picking up on the second round that I completely missed. There's just so much. You can't pick it up the first time. It just begs to be reread. But I'm enjoying The White Luck Warrior. It is probably one of my least favorite books, I think, from the entire series. I think this one and probably The Warrior Prophet are my two least favorite books from the series. They're still good, but they're, as far as the series goes, they're probably towards the bottom. But we are coming in, we're about halfway through The White Luck Warrior, having lots of fun with that, and I'm listening to audio on that one as well. Also, I'm getting into Peril's Gate. This is the Wars of Light and Shadow group, read by Jenny Wirtz, not Wars of Light and Shower. That's weird. Wars of Light and Shadow. We're getting into that, and I'm having difficulty keeping up with all these different reads, especially really heavy reads. And I'm actually, because I fell way behind last year on this group read. I was keeping up and I fell behind. I've been trying to catch up. And those of you who have read Jenny, it's very dense. And I mean that in a good way. It's you have to really focus on it, for me anyway. And it's not a book you want to speed read through or kind of, scan. It's a book you have to sit down and engage with, or you're robbing yourself of the experience. Lately, because I did miss out on a lot of the discussions last year, I've been wondering if I should restart the series and start from scratch. If you are someone who is interested in doing that with me, we'd go at a very slow pace. Let me know if you're interested in restarting. I'll go back to Mistwraith and maybe restart. Or maybe try and finish out this round and then restart it again and do a reread after I read the entire series, since we are getting close to the end. That's just something I've been thinking about lately. The other thing I read recently was Blame. It's a manga, Blame Volume 1. I saw this on Slowly Read's YouTube channel, and whenever he likes something, Mark from Slowly Read, whenever he likes something, I usually like it too. And I got into this one. It's okay. We finished Berserk about a couple months ago, and I wanted a new manga to read. And it's very little dialogue. A lot of the art carries the story, but the art doesn't do a really fantastic job of carrying the story. It depends on the art a lot, but there's a lot of times when I could not follow what was happening, and that's kind of where it lost me a little bit. But we are continuing. I think we planned a discussion for the entire series when we finish it, but we are discussing that on the forum as well. So, with all that being said, we have some reads coming up that I want to talk to you about. We are going to start the Trader Baru Cormorant very soon. If you'd like to get in on that, I believe we are starting that after we finish the second Apocalypse. So we are a couple months away. If you'd like to join us on that. Of course, we'd like to start Sandman soon from Neil Gaiman. Alan Moore's Swamp Thing and Black Hole. Those are all graphic novels, and looking forward to all of those. We're starting here soon, hopefully. So as far as the Friday conversation goes, I have a lot of things scheduled the next few weeks. A lot of things scheduled. Hopefully they all materialize, unlike this week. So next week, there's an episode that we recorded already. This is with Judith Starkson, and we discuss historical fantasy. So that will be live on Friday, a week from today. It was scheduled for that day we timed it on that day on purpose. Otherwise, it'd be live today. But that'll be live next week. So, I hope you enjoy that one. Had a really great discussion. Hope you enjoy it. We have some upcoming guests. Hopefully they all happen. One of them is J.V. Hilliard. The other one is Kirsten Weiss. Cara Lee Lopez and Elka Ray are all lined up for Friday Conversations coming up. So we have lots of episodes to record, and those will be the next several weeks. Speaking of the next several weeks, we do have on the Film Chewing podcast, we are discussing, like I said, a movie every couple of weeks. We did discuss The Lighthouse last week, and that'll be posted tomorrow for Saturday Cinephile, or Cinephile Saturday. This week, I believe we're going to be discussing Silence of the Lambs. I have not seen that movie after all this time. I know. I'm going to watch it. But excited to do that. I'm also looking for recommendations for movies that any of you would like to discuss. I think I've been trying to choose movies that are ripe for discussion, that are movies we can watch and have something to talk about. Sometimes you watch a movie and you're just like, yeah, that was cool, and you move on. But I'm trying to find things that will kind of get discussion going, of course, because you don't listen to a podcast where people just all say, yeah, that was neat, and that was it. So you want different themes and things to explore and things to break down, whether it be cinematography or characters or whatever it may be. So that'll be here soon. So yeah, open to ideas on that. Also, speaking of ideas, we are going to be recording a Song of Ice and Fire theories podcast. We'll be discussing all the things that we think will happen in the book series. We already know how the TV series ended, but we will be discussing our theories on how the book series will end. That, of course, will be spoiler filled. So if you haven't read those series, you may not want to listen to that one. But if you'd like to participate, we are doing that next Friday. Recording that next Friday. So on the 10th of May. So if you're listening to this, we are doing that next week. Also on the Comics and Manga podcast, I did write an article, and I'm going to be recording an episode about the comic book series Crossed by Avatar Press. I'd say it's extreme horror. It's known for being very over the top. So I break down kind of the chronological timeline of all the different books that were published, and give my thoughts on each of them, on each one that's been published. Kind of what, there are some volumes that are more about shock value, that are more about pushing boundaries and what can we get away with, how far can we push this, what can we do to shock people. And I think there's other volumes that explore humanity, and kind of the same as Blood Meridian and Second Apocalypse and dark fantasy books like that, is you explore what humans are capable of. And in the worst of times, you find humanity, you find hope. And I think, survival horror is one of my favorite subgenres of horror. And it is very much rooted in survival horror. Kind of the dynamics of a really bad situation, a life or death situation, when people come together, when people are forced to come together to survive. What is that dynamic like? What happens in that kind of dynamic? What does that mean for people? How do you rebuild in that kind of situation where you depend on other people to survive, but you don't get along with them, or who decides what to do or how to survive or how to go about things? What rules do you have? I think all of that's very interesting. I think the Crossed series does a really good job of exploring those things. There's other volumes that not so much. It's more about what boundaries can we push, how much blood and guts and death and just depravity that we put in the book. So yeah, that's kind of what I discuss in that article, in that podcast episode. So that'll be coming soon. I haven't recorded it yet. I did write the article. I just haven't posted it. It will be posted on pagechewing.com, and hope you check it out if you're at all interested, or even if you aren't interested, maybe check it out anyway. So yeah, all those links are down below. Come by and check it out. I apologize again this week for not having an episode ready. I just, like I said, had a couple of no-shows, had some guests lined up, and, things happen. Nothing, just one of those things that it's just a string of bad luck. But hopefully the next few weeks we have lots of guests. I have lots of things planned. So we'll be full for the next few weeks, I'm hoping. After that, I've been thinking about doing a kind of a forum hangout maybe once a month, maybe more. There's a poll on the forum. Go check it out if you'd like to participate. It's audio only. We just come on and talk about whatever. There's no script. It's just a hangout. The forum does have a forum hangout the first Sunday of every month. That is not recorded. They just jump on and chat. So come by and check that out as well if you like to chat with like-minded people. But this one will be recorded, obviously, for the Friday conversation. But I've thought about that also. There's a few different nonfiction books I've wanted to discuss. One of them is Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. I think it'd be fun to read that and then just come and discuss it on a Friday conversation. Things that aren't something we can spoil, whether it's history or it's theology or whatever it may be, just to come on and talk about it. And even if you haven't read the book, you still may find some value in it. Maybe a fun conversation, just because some of those things were fun to discuss. We're not spoiling a story for you. We can't really spoil history because it's already happened. So anyway, yeah, other than that, I've just been trying to keep up with all this other stuff. Work has been a complete pain in my ass for the last few months. It's been really bad. I've been getting lots of miles in on the bike, and I did get my second 100 miles in a day last week. So it was fun. I just wanted to do 100 miles before it gets too hot. So hope to do it again, but been trying to get a lot of miles in. I think April I had 666.7 miles. No, that wasn't on purpose. It just happened that way, which is kind of weird. But yeah, I broke my record for the most miles in a month, and kind of getting ready for potential long-term races and stuff here. So kind of getting ready for that. But yeah, I've been listening to lots of audiobooks during that time. So it helps because it's nice to just pop in an audiobook and pedal and kind of zone out. So it really does help having audiobooks. I'm beginning to really sink my teeth into more audiobooks lately because it is convenient to do with activities like that. So how are you doing? Hope everyone's doing great. Thank you for coming by and listening. Again, I apologize for not having a proper Friday conversation, but wanted to come on and have a conversation with you, even though you can't reply. You can reply. Just join our forums at pagechewing.com. I do have to approve everyone's account. So if you do register and, just give me a little bit of time, I just have to make sure that, keep the bots and stuff out. And, so if you do register, just be patient with me. I do check several times a day to see if there's any new registrations. And yeah, come and join the fun. Really great people there. Also, check out the other podcasts if these sound of interest to you. Hope you're doing great. Hope you're doing really good with the weather warming up. It is nice to get back outside and not freeze. So it's about the time to start planting things and things like that. So it's that time of year when it's nice before it gets too hot. Because yeah, when July, August rolls around, it's a little too hot outside. So enjoy the spring weather while you can. And get some reading done. So yeah, that's my Friday conversation slash update. Thank you so much for listening if you're still listening. And I hope you have a fantastic weekend. Come and let me know how you're doing. What do you have planned? How have you been? Let me know. I always like to hear from you if you're able to. And until then, there is a website that allows you to record messages to send to someone. It's like I forget the name of it. It's like Shout something, but there's a way to record messages for listeners how to set that up. And if that is set up, I'll leave a link down below. And yeah, shoot me a message. Be nice. and yeah, let me know how you're doing. Let me know what you're up to. And if I have enough, maybe we can do an episode where we have a Friday conversation just of all of you, just recording messages and sending them to me. I think it'd be a lot of fun. So anyway, that's it for me. Hope you're all doing great and hope to talk to you all soon. Like I said, have lots of fun stuff coming up, but I'm excited about it. So hope everyone's doing fantastic. Have a great weekend. Have a great Friday. Be safe. And we will talk to you all very soon.